the last thing I want to do is disappoint somebody. So it's fun when you get to be a part of something that you believe in and the favors return. It's, to me, it becomes a family. It's the family you didn't have. So it's fun to work with the folks that appreciate it.
Scott Ashmore has been fishing professionally for 13 years in Bassmaster Classic, Elite Series, FLW Tour, and Major League Fishing. Introducing our RELiON ambassador, Scott Ashmore.
Hey guys.
So Scott, we initially started conversations about 7 years ago. I remember you called me up one day and let me know who you were and what you did for a living, and that being a professional angler. Which is super cool and definitely, one of the target industries that we're after. We have a lot of anglers using our batteries, and it's worked out really well over the past 5 or 6 years. I think this industry in general has been one to adapt lithium quicker than others, and there's a lot of reasons why, but hearing it from you, somebody who uses the batteries, what are the key advantages you think that you found with lithium batteries?
Well, some of it's obvious. The first thing that a lot of people talk about is the weight. It's basically like taking, over 200 pounds out of your boat. And so it's like, one less person in your boat. And so obviously there's lots of advantages to that. Your whole shot, the boat, takes off a lot quicker. You can take off in shallower water, and you can draft shallower water, so you get better fuel economy. Those are, that's a big bonus, especially for the folks out there fishing flats in the saltwater. It's a big deal for boats to float shallow so they can go fish and get to where they want to go. But the peace of mind that comes with these batteries it's pretty priceless, man. I mean, it's like you can actually relax and fish. You don't have in the back of your mind while you're making those decisions. Especially in my case, when you earn a living, you got to make good decisions, and you can't be worried about batteries not holding up. And I don't even. It's kind of sad. I've got to the point to where I hardly even look at my voltage, near what I used to, because, I have so much faith in the batteries. So it's a different world, and it's a different world because as you use your trolling motor, the power doesn't get less throughout the day. It's the same when you start and the same when you finish. And so that is not only great because you're not having to turn the power up, the speed of the trolling motor up more and more and more throughout the day. That in itself is cool, but it's also really good for your electronics. A lot of guys running so many units on their boats nowadays, if you have low voltage because you have a wet cell battery that's decreasing throughout the day, it's hard on stuff, and they have a voltage protection in them, but it causes them to run hot. It causes them to flash and go off when you start your motor and all kinds of stuff. I do not have those problems or even worry about it. And, like I said, I've gotten pretty comfortable with it. The set of batteries are my original set that are in my boat. They're over 6 years old, and I've taken them from boat to boat. So
yeah. Now, and you hit all the main, selling features that are promoted with lithium. But the people are still a little weary about lifespan. Is it, you get all the benefits, the upfront benefits, but
yeah.
Is lifespan going to hold up as what the chemistry is saying? And you're 6 years strong, so that's a pretty good testament there for sure.
It is, and an important factor in that is the battery charger. That speaks to the batteries, how good they are, because we've been through a couple of chargers that failed for whatever reason. So and now I'm running the power pole charger that's incredible. I think that's a big part of the life of a battery. But like I said, we've had chargers that crapped out on us and didn't charge or whatever, and the batteries are still just as good as they ever were. So but I do think it is important to have a good charging system on board for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And we're able, luckily for our battery, we're able to utilize a lot of different charging options, which is good too, because if you ever get stuck, I know, some of the main concerns, especially when you're out on the road, is breakdowns. What happens if you break down? We don't have a truck. RELiON doesn't have a truck there swapping batteries out. So it's good that you have the flexibility to kind of mix and match if you need to, or
Yeah.
use a standard charger out there as well. So,
Right.
I mean, in your opinion, when you first initially installed the batteries, what did you recognize immediately? I mean, what was the first takeaway after you installed?
Well, number one, I saw higher voltage, than you see with a wet cell. Was the first thing you see. You turn on your stuff, you're like, oh wow, look, I'm sitting at 13.8. And just, I guess, just the fact what I spoke about a minute ago, that throughout the day, as I look at my voltage, it wasn't dropping, and it didn't matter if I set, at takeoff for an hour and a half with the units on. So, the voltage stayed the same. That's the first thing that I noticed, because I'm a voltage watcher. You notice the higher voltage that doesn't fluctuate and suck down throughout the day. So it starts to build, like I said, the peace of mind that you get from watching it. You're like, man, then you get to the point, I'm not even worried about it. I'm not even watching it anymore, because you have so much confidence in it. I've never touched them. I've never run out of juice, or even close, so man, it's a different world than the world of lithium.
Yeah. And we tell, or that's communicated as well. Like, you're not going to see, it's kind of like any cordless, household electronic nowadays, vacuums or drills. You just get full constant power, which can cause little issues if you're running a smaller battery and you're not, you're expecting voltage to drop towards the end of the state of charge, and it doesn't. So you kind of go off the end of a cliff. So I think the important thing is just to size battery appropriately for your usage. You're a professional angler. You have the Group 31s, the largest format, and they've been great for you. So
they have, and it's something that 90% of the people out there that start looking into batteries don't get, and they can be steered wrong. And that is that these are a 100 amp hour battery, and lithium is a true 100 amp hour. If you go to a wet cell and they tell you it's 100 amp hour, it's not, and it's sure not at that voltage. And one of the unknowns out there, some of the competition out there, they say, well, my battery's it's this big or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's 40 amp hour. At the last tournament, we had a young man that had brand new lithium batteries in his boat, and I said, what are they, and what are the amp hour? And he had trouble. He ended up actually taking that out and going and buying a wet cell because what he had wouldn't hold up. I said, even if you put two of them in there, you don't have what I have with one. And so the world doesn't know that much about that to understand that, and they can get misled. And I think it's important information to know when you're buying batteries. Something that's less than half as much as what you got. It's not enough.
Well, and over the course of 5 years, as we've had many conversations, the fishing industry has changed, not only on the tour side. There's been a lot of changes on that, but also electronics to the boat. I mean, just the power demand that these boats have now is insane, and the amount of money additionally that you have to spend on, outside of the boat itself is crazy. I mean,
it is.
And I remember having that same conversation with you. We list out all the top dollar items on the boat, and then we get to the batteries, and people are spending $85 per battery or $100 a battery, and they expect those batteries to run everything flawlessly. So speak to that. I mean, batteries are the heart of the boat, and you need that, and obviously you've touched on voltage and how that's relevant. But I mean, in your opinion, is it worth it to spend this much money on batteries to secure everything on the boat?
It's kind of it's if you miss that one, it's stupid is what it is. It's kind of like having one power pole. You're going to spin around in circles. If you got batteries, then you go fish and well, the motor died, you can't get back, and the trolling motor quit. Well, heck, you sure can't fish. So it's a part of the puzzle. It's the gas that runs the motor. I mean, it's not going to go. It's not going to work for you. You can't tightwad that part of and expect good results. It's part of the system. It's like you got to have it. You got to have it.
Good. Well, we try to make that point, but it's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, and especially if you're not used to seeing the higher price tag on lithium and or even AGM. A lot of guys still run
right.
So
that creates that part. Well, hey, can I get by with this? And you might for a while. It may or may not work, but and that's why people try to do it. And it's reached a level and still growing today where boats have 5 units on them. And you're running all these new forward facing transducers and 360, and it just keeps growing. The more and more electronics that are going on the boats, pretty soon you won't even have to think to fish. You'll just stare at your screen and push buttons, I guess. But anyway, yeah, it's an important part to have batteries that do the job.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about preparation. Before you head out, before tournament starts. You said one of the biggest benefits is peace of mind now with batteries. I mean, compare that to the process of lead acid versus lithium. Is there a big difference, or just the preparation side before a tournament?
As far as charging your batteries?
Yeah, just making sure, I don't know if you had like a checklist that you went through with all your lead acids before you did, or if that changed with lithium.
Well, I tell you, it did change with lithium because you do have so much confidence in them. But to me, used to, I'd have a voltmeter and I'd stick it on every battery and check them, and then I got a voltage meter in the dash, and then I have one on my electronics. And so that's always looked at, but that's one of the great things about, I can't say enough about it either, is the power pole charger. I can look at all of that on my phone. Mm-hmm. And see the voltage of every battery. And so it doesn't matter if I'm at a hotel and it's sitting in a parking lot and it's plugged in to charge for the night, I can check it on my phone. Oh, wow. Yeah, and it's and it also charges on the run. And so there's been plenty of times when I get back to the hotel after actually I stayed at a place where I didn't have power one night, and after I had fished and couldn't charge that night, I fished an entire day the next day and got back to the hotel room that night and plugged that dude in, and I had done some running, but my cranking battery went and was green. I was like there, like after 2 days of fishing. So, I didn't even look at my phone. I knew where it was because I could see it in the dash too. So it's pretty cool to have that going on, and to have those kind of batteries in your boat. It's just, man.
Modern technology and how that helps.
Yeah.
Out. So tell us a little bit about your 2021 rig. I think you've gone through like 3 or 4 different boats since I've but tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm fishing the Phoenix now. Really, really love the boat. It rides and runs better than anything I've ever had, and I've got 4 of the 100 amp hour, batteries in it that started. God, what was the first boat we put those in? It's been 6 years. It might have been a Ranger. But anyway, so yeah, putting those batteries in the boat help its performance. My top end's better. We're drafting less water. My whole shot's faster. It's a nice setup, and so I'm real happy with how everything turned out with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, the batteries weigh 30 pounds a piece instead of 85, which is what I used to have.
Yeah, and I know some guys opt to even have an accessories like a fifth battery. You haven't seen any issues with just running one, and you're running what, five graphs or?
Well, 4. I've got 2 up front and 2 in the dash.
Okay, cool.
But I do have the forward facing stuff, and it's all 12-inch units, and so I'm pulling lots of power. But and I've considered running parallel for another 12-volt, but man, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got back to the hotel after running for 2 days, fishing for 2 days, and it was hot. I had to hit the trolling a little bit, but the cranking battery after 2 days fish, that was amazing. I was like, wow, so. And that charger actually has a setting that it will charge, with your phone. You can have it to charge all on cranking, all on trolling or share mode, which will actually take it where it needs it. So pretty slick setup. And the other thing that's built into it also is that it will jumpstart if you needed it. I don't have a flip jumpstart switch anymore.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that charger is definitely becoming more popular, and it works great with lithium. So it's definitely one of the preferred methods. And no doubt, the more control you have and more visibility you have to voltage, and what your batteries state are, the better you can make decisions. And really, to experience lithium and know how it operates and functions, and if it's going to work for you, you have to try it. It's one of those things that we can talk all day about, but
Yeah.
before you try it, you really need to experience it to know exactly.
Yeah. I remember when we first met and I got my batteries, and I think I said something about how I liked them, or I don't remember what it was, Michael, but you said, well, welcome to the new world of lithium or something, and I've never forgotten it. I mean, it is a different planet. It really is. It really is.
No, that's cool. It's definitely one of those things you have to experience. We're happy that you came on board. Like I said, you were one of the early adapters, and everything's worked out real well with you in this industry, and it'll continue to. So in your opinion, what's the biggest difference and change that have been made in professional fishing over the past 6 years or 7 years? What's different?
Electronics. There's more information than there ever has been. There's no secrets anymore.
Yeah.
Not many. Instincts can lead people, and just because you have the waypoint doesn't mean you can catch them there, and conditions change. But electronics have, it's a different world. Used to, when I was younger, you had to earn it. You had to go learn the lake. You had to practice, and you had to use your gut and figure stuff out. And you didn't have forward-facing electronics. You didn't have GPS units. You had a flasher.
Yeah.
Right. And so, with that said, it's really put a need and for batteries to be a big player in it. There's so much running in boats that it's become real important. And you try to do it with wet cells. I mean, yeah, you might have to parallel them or whatever, but you really got a lot of weight in your boat. And so you gotta weigh that out and say, do I want the confidence and the comfort level, the peace of mind that I'm good?
Yeah.
Or do you want to put a bunch of lead in your boat?
Yeah. So, I mean, And now that now that someone has all the equipment that they feel comfortable with, like yourself, right? Like you're confident on that side, but I'm sure, right before tournament starts, your stress level raises a little bit, and you're just in, natural that it happens. What do you have any tips or tricks to tell people how you remain calm or prepare for a tournament?
Uh, it's those guys. Everybody puts their pants on the same way. I've competed with. There isn't anyone that I haven't competed against, I guess, you might say. And so I don't get intimidated. And I've gotten to fish several different, formats whether it's been major league fishing for, Big Five, like in the FLW Tour, the Elite Series. And so I don't let it bother me, it never really has, I guess, because I've kind of grown up around a lot of the guys, and I don't get intimidated.
You can't tell at all. What about any amateur guys? Do you have any tips or recommendations to guys trying to break into the higher levels?
Yeah, well, one of the, and I never did it, but one of the things that I think is important for fishermen is don't ever think you know everything, and you never stop learning, and you can learn a lot from fishing with somebody else. And so it's a good idea to fish as a co-angler. I never did. I never had, not one single tournament. And so, my learning curve was, a lot of it was self-taught, and, studied, learned, failed, got it right, whatever, however I learned it. But I could have done that a lot quicker, fishing with other people, and what's available today wasn't available, in my time growing up. There's so much information now to get, online, and reading, magazines, whatever it might be. But just don't ever get it in your head that you know everything or your way's the best. There's a lot of ways to do stuff and catch fish, and there's a lot of ways to catch them. While they're spawning, there's fish offshore. There's fish deep and shallow. There's fish shallow year round. You think you're catching them because you're out there deep doing well. There's probably somebody catching them shallow too. So that's the cool part about fishing that keeps me going, is the fact that I never quit learning. That's the thirst that I can't quench, Yeah.
Well, I can attest to that. Almost every time I talk to you on the phone, it seems like you're either out at your pond flipping in a new bait, or you just got done doing it. So yeah. I mean, you're a busy guy. You're a dad. You got a business. You're a professional angler. Like, how do you make time for all of it?
Oh, I mean, it just kind of becomes what you do, and it's hard. We live on 3 acres, and there's stuff to mow, and work to be done that my wife fills in sometimes when I'm gone. We need a bigger mower, bad boy, by the way. But the family, I got a lot of support from home. I'm lucky to get to do what I do. Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's always been fun to chat with you and keep up with you. I feel like we have a great personal relationship outside of business, and you can just tell you're humble guy, and guy that just wants to do good for his family and have fun doing it. So
that's right.
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, what is next for you, for Scott Ashmore?
I'm keeping everything open. I'm fishing, Bassmaster Opens, fishing Major League Fishing, and it's a lot. I don't know that you want to do more, but no, I just enjoy getting to do it and enjoy taking care of the people that take care of me, meaning sponsors, you know. The last thing I want to do is disappoint somebody. So, you know, it's fun when you get to be a part of something that you believe in and the favors return. So, it's, you know, to me, it becomes a family. You know, it's the family you didn't have. So it's fun to work with the folks that, you know, appreciate it.
Well, likewise, man. We're all about partnerships, and we're glad to have you a part of the team, and look forward to all the time ahead.
Yeah, there you go. We'll see if we can set a new world record on how long a set of batteries will last.
That'll be fun for sure.